Hey, folks, welcome back to Lettermen Row for this edition of Birminology. I am your guest host, Zach Carpenter, filling in for Jeremy Birmingham, who is out this week. And on this week's episode, we have a very, very special guest. It is five-star cornerback AJ Harris out of Alabama. We talked with AJ about his recent Ohio State visit for the Maryland game, his relationships with guys like CJ Hicks, how he was able to build a relationship with Matt Barnes and build upon the relationship with Kerry Coombs. And we were able to talk about some of the dynamics at play with the Buckeyes coaching staff this season. And we got to talk about playing more. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, welcome AJ Harris, the five-star quarterback in the 2023 class, number one cornerback in the nation, or number two or number three, whatever recruiting service you rank. Do you want to be number one? I mean, everybody wants to be number one. I mean, come on, you love to have that five-star billing, right?
It really don't matter to me too much. I really don't get caught up into the rankings. And I mean, wherever they have me ranked is a blessing. So I don't really too much worry about that.
Right. So ranking or not, you're Ohio State's top cornerback target in the 2023 class. Like I said in the intro, it's a small class that the Buckeyes are looking to sign and in your class. Have they has the staff detailed to you, look, this is how much we value you. We want to bring you in this class. We think that highly of you. Is that something that they've kind of vocalized and made sure that you're aware of?
Yes, sir, which is also why they're definitely a top school for me, because I do understand that I am a priority for them and that they definitely want me a part of their program. So it's definitely nice to know that I'm a priority. So since they prioritize me, I'll make sure that they're a top school, and it's definitely a great fit. So I definitely, dang.
We lost you for a second. You're good.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the opportunity to be recruited so hard from that coaching staff, because it's definitely a great coaching staff.
Yeah, and obviously you're a priority for pretty much every school. You have a final seven of Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, LSU, Notre Dame, and North Carolina. Coming off of visits to Alabama and then LSU last weekend and Ohio State this weekend. I know this was your second overall visit to Ohio State. You came in June and worked out with Kerry Coombs and Matt Barnes and the Buckeyes, and took a little tour of the facilities and the campus, if I recall. How did this visit for the Maryland game and that atmosphere, just overall, how did it compare to the first visit? How was it different?
It was definitely I actually loved the game, but it was just it's great to be around a genuine coaching staff, like coaching staffs that truly care for me as a person and who I am. So it's nice being around Coach Coombs, and I actually got to see the family side of Coach Coombs versus the Maryland game. So it was different things that I got to see, and Coach Coombs is definitely a genuine person, which is something that I got to see through and through. Being able to visit during the summer and then come back for a game day, it's just making sure that everything is what it seems. So it was definitely just amazing to be able to visit a game and just see how he utilizes his DBs and things of that nature.
Yeah, and definitely, I want to get to that in a second, sort of the development X's and O's side of things. But I know Friday night you guys got in here. You had a Thursday night game, so it made the travel and the visit set up a lot easier. The Maryland game, a lot of times Ohio State, when they have their big games like against Penn State or Michigan or Oregon, they make it very clear to recruits, like, we might not have time. We may not have the time that we want to spend time with you and build that relationship, because we're so focused on such a big game this season.
Exactly.
So the Maryland game, obviously, no disrespect to Maryland, but they weren't as high caliber of an opponent as some others. So I know the schedule with the Thursday night game worked out perfectly, but was that also the fact that it wasn't as big of a game on the schedule? Was that also a factor in Ohio State wanting you to get up there so they could spend more time with you? And was that something that you purposely wanted to do as well?
I mean, coaches don't really think like that, or they don't, like, say that. But it was more so what was best for my schedule and like what game I would be able to actually get to interact with the coaches with. I try to go to a game to see, like, okay, I'll be able to interact with him a lot this game. So it was just nice that I was able to get to talk to Coach Coombs and Coach Day, because especially Coach Day on the game day, I love that one. But just being able to talk to Coach Coombs on the game day, just to because I'm a relationships type of guy, so just being able to continue to build that relationship and strengthen it, it's just amazing.
So when you say Coach Day on a game day, what was it like? What'd you take away? You're smiling, so I know something must have impressed you.
Intense. I've never you see when you talk to Coach Day one-on-one and like not around the football, just as a person, he's a calm, cool, collected type of person. But just seeing him on the game day, he's intense the whole day. So like getting to talk to him while he's intense was just funny to me, and I actually like that side of Coach Day. So it was just a fun experience.
Right, you got to see all the angles of what it would be like to be there on a game day and be coached by that staff. Going back to the relationship building side, I know Friday night you got a meet and greet with some of the other players visiting and their parents, and then Saturday night that was more of the one-on-one with you and your parents. Your parents Daniel and Glennis visited, and you guys were able to spend some time with Kerry Coombs and his family. I guess what was that like? What were the vibes? And what were your parents' impressions and stuff of Kerry and his family?
It was amazing. I like seeing Coach Coombs around all his grandchildren, but just being able to see, how somebody values their family and just showing the love that he has for his family and having the honor to be able to meet his family, his wife, his grandchildren, his sons. It was nice to be able to meet them. So I definitely like that. I haven't did that with any other coaches. It was just something different for me and my family that we definitely took note of.
Yeah, and actually, just come to think of it, Coach Combs' wife is actually like a low-key, under-the-radar recruiter for Ohio State. There's been a lot of cornerbacks defensive backs I've talked to in the past are like, yeah, when I committed, Coach Combs' wife got on the phone with me, and it was awesome, like just getting her energy too. And speaking of that, I was joking with your dad because I wanted to see if your mom was coming up for the visit too. I know she did in the summer as well, and I was joking with him. I'm like, hey man, moms rule the world, so she had to be there. What were her impressions overall during her second visit to Ohio State?
The first visit, she was more so an education worry. That's like her priority. But just on the game day, she just like seeing how that they would interact with her child. Like she likes to see the intensity and things like that, just to make sure that I am in good hands. But she loved it. She loved it. She know that I would be in good hands there, which is all my parents really care about. They really don't care about the football stuff as much as I do. They more so care about who I'm going to, how I will be treated on a bad day, and things like that. And they definitely love the coaching staff, and they think that I'm in good hands there.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I was telling you before we started recording, my parents actually visited this weekend too. And I showed them around the tailgate, and I showed them at halftime when the players came back to the locker room. And then lo and behold, I see you and CJ Hicks, and then your parents come up through the tunnel. I actually got to meet I met your parents before, but got to kind of catch up with them a little bit too. So that was a funny moment. I didn't realize that was going to happen, but it was great to see them again. But you were next to CJ. I assume that he would be in your pocket sort of throughout the weekend. I mean, it looked like you guys were having a serious, as I can best describe it, as like a serious but laid back conversation, right? What was CJ? Yeah. How was I know you guys are really really tight. How was he sort of making his pitch to you without making his pitch to you, if you know what I mean? What was that like?
I mean, CJ, with me, we've built like such a great relationship that he doesn't have to throw a pitch to me anymore. Because, I mean, he did it in California when we was at the opening on the same team. So, I already heard his pitch. But he's just like, we continue to build our relationship together. And he just harps on, like, we could really take this thing over together and things like that. So, I definitely love CJ Hicks. And it's not another player that I want to play with more than I want to play with CJ Hicks. So, just continue to build a relationship with him. He's a good person, like a person that I really like outside of the football stuff. But We talk about stuff outside of football, which is something that I really don't do with a lot of other recruits. So we've definitely built like a great relationship, and he no longer has to give me a pitch because I already have a clear vision of everything. So we're just having one-on-one regular conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably gotten to that point because he's been on you for so long, and it is a genuine relationship. And at the opening, yeah, I saw you guys out there, and it was you, Xavier Wampa, Kyon Grays. You guys seemed completely inseparable at the event off the field, and you were on the field. You guys all played for the same 7-on-7 team, and I'm just sitting there watching. I've said this plenty of times, but it just seemed like I was watching the future of the Ohio State defense. You know what I mean? For all you guys.
Exactly.
You guys were just working in like perfect synchronization, and like you guys love talking trash together. That was
exactly.
That was, I mean, CJ, I don't think there was anyone louder on the field than CJ Hicks. You could hear him from 2 fields over. Is that something while you were playing with them, could you guys sort of see like, hey, this could be a future defense together?
That's also something that you look for, the recruitment class and who the programs are bringing in. And like, you don't want to play with, no one that you wouldn't give 100% for. Because, I mean, if you look at Adam as your brother, then you'll give 100% and leave everything out on the field. So when you could put it like that, like the future Ohio State defense possibly. But it's crazy because we mesh fast. Sometimes you got to get a feel for people and how they play and things like that. But we communicated from the beginning to the end, and when we communicated, I believe that it was crazy. It was pretty scary. I don't think nobody could really stop us, but he's definitely a great person to play with.
Yeah, and I mean, other than the trash talking and all that, the highlight of watching you guys play was that I think it was 100, maybe it was 101 yard, interception return for a touchdown that you had. I think it was off LSU commit Walker Howard, if I remember right. But yeah, you housed it, you went all the way. And I mean, outside of that, and then there's a bunch of other plays where it seems like off the field, me and Berm have talked about this, off the field, you're just very buttoned up, very respectful person coming from that military discipline background. On the field, it's a completely different story. Me and Berm have talked about how he's a dog. Like he has that dog mentality that you need at cornerback. Is that something, I mean, first of all, I guess, where does that come from? Has it always been there? And is that something that, maybe a team like Ohio State really, really wants to bring into the program? Is that sort of a personality trait that makes them really prioritize you like we were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that Coach Coombs got to see firsthand. I mean, I didn't really get too much into that mentality because it was a one-on-one workout and I was just trying to learn as much as possible. But, I mean, that is something that they know that I do have. But I mean, that's something that I've always had because it's a switch that I've always flipped when it's time to be flipped. But I mean, I believe that nobody really knew that. And nobody really knows that until they see me play football because I play with passion. I really love this sport. And when I'm on the field, you will know that I love this sport. So it's just something that I've always had. And it makes me who I am on the field. I'm a hard person to play against because I'm always, I'm going to be in your ear and I'm always going to, let you know that I'm there. So it's just something that I've always had. And as a corner, you have to have it. You have to have confidence because, I mean, you will get beat. And when you get beat, you have to have confidence that my technique will work, that, I will get them next time. You have to have that type of IQ and that type of mindset as a DB. So it's something that I've always possessed.
Yeah, I always like to refer to it as the art of trash talk. Every cornerback's got it, man.
Hey, man, CJ got DB trash talk for real.
He does, though. I mean, both of you guys are just like, it's like you guys go back and forth on who's the best one there. I mean, yeah, I don't think I think everybody in the nation knows at this point what CJ is about like that. But obviously, with you being a little younger, maybe they need a little introduction to it, right?
Yeah, I don't go to the biggest school, so when I do go to events like that, I definitely want to assert my dominance.
Yeah. And speaking of sort of that potentially fit that mentality and the way you play corner fitting in at a program like Ohio State, on your visit, I know it was mostly there for relationship building, right? But while you were watching the Ohio State defense play, how were you able to sort of envision yourself as a potential fit in that defense?
I mean, that's a great question because, I mean, as a recruit, you don't want to go anywhere where you don't vision yourself playing there. So it was just it's great because, you know, I'm a press man type of guy that you know, you can't play man the whole game because, you know, that's what you won't do in the NFL. But they definitely play my style of football, you know, zone here and there, a lot of press man and things of that nature. So, you know, it's just something that you always have to look for, and it's something that I definitely think I could play in as a type of scheme.
Yeah, and I've been doing this a little more than 2 years covering Ohio State recruiting, and I swear something like 95% of cornerbacks that I talk to, when I ask them, what position are you trying to play in college? What position they want? Like 95% of them say, well, I could play inside or outside. Really, you could put me anywhere. So is that what Ohio State's vision is for you? I mean, what have they detailed schematically? What you want? What they want from you?
Yes, me and Coach Coombs. That's one of my first questions because you know, you have to make your decision based off that too. It's a lot of stuff that goes into your decision, but Coach Coombs wanted me to play outside corner. That's what I would play if I attend Ohio State.
So the vision was detailed pretty clearly for you this weekend. With like you said, you had a question for him. What sort of questions did you and your family have for the Ohio State staff? Obviously, there's questions about whether Kerry might stay around for after this season and stay on as a defensive coordinator, or potentially stay as the defensive backs coach and things like of that nature. What sort of questions did you have for the staff when you visited?
Which is another great question, but, you know, something that me and my family also look for when I make my decision is stability. So, you know, we definitely did ask questions of that nature, just making sure that, you know, that some of these position coaches and these people that I'm building relationships will still be here. So, or be there when I get there. So just making sure, asking about stability, where they see me playing, things of that nature, because we, you know, that's important things to us. But just asking stability questions and asking, you know, what did Coach Coombs think I could get better in? What does he see on my film? Because I send him my film every week, things like that.
Okay, and then like you talk about position coaches. Obviously, Matt Barnes, he's taken on a bigger role. He's the secondary coach, but now he's the defensive play caller. I believe this was one of your first times where you really got to meet Coach Barnes and talk to him, really kind of pick his brain, I guess. What were your first impressions of him? And was there any main takeaways from your time spent with him this weekend?
Me and him are very similar, very conservative, not as talkative, but a genuine dude, someone that I could see myself learning from, a person that's very wise and could teach me some stuff about football. Then that's what I got from Coach Barnes. But I definitely do like Coach Barnes.
Yeah, he's one of those under the radar guys, right? I mean, he's someone that we haven't heard much about, but when I have heard about him, it's people have good things to say just about his football knowledge, his X's and O's and schemes and stuff. I'm sure that's something that you took away from the trip too. Do you expect a little bit more involvement from Coach Barnes and maybe some other guys as your recruitment to Ohio State moves forward?
Most definitely. That's something that's definitely important because you know, you're with your secondary coach so much. You have to, you know, build a great relationship with them, because if you're going to you don't want to be with anybody that you don't like or that you wouldn't want to learn from. So it's just making sure that I definitely do see myself being with him a lot of my days and things like that.
I told you I'd get you out of here in like 15 minutes. I think you gave me even more than that. Just last question is just you're going towards a January 11th decision date, which is your birthday, or December 13th, which is your mom's birthday, correct? Or I get those flipped.
Right. No, that's right.
So I know you obviously came off the Alabama visit, LSU visit, now Ohio State. What's next on the visit schedule for the next month or two before you make a decision? And has there been any conversation about a potential return trip to Ohio State?
Yes, we actually looked into potentially coming to the Penn State game as far as Ohio State. But I mean, I'll visit all 7 of those schools because I'd be wrong if I didn't do my due diligence and see like what's the best fit for me or overlook something. I only want to make this decision one time. I don't want to commit and decommit. I'm not that type of person. So I'm just making sure I do my due diligence, but I will definitely visit the rest of those schools that I haven't visited yet. And when the time comes, I hope I'm ready, which I will.
And there we go. We're getting into the toward the finish line, inching closer to the finish line in your recruitment. That is 5-star cornerback AJ Harris. For my mind, probably a number 1 quarterback in the class, but either way you slice it, he's top 2 or 3 at least, right? Top 2 and not 2. Thank you again, AJ, for taking the time with us. And hopefully you'll be able to evaluate everything over the next couple months and come to a decision. So thank you for your time, AJ.
Yes, sir. Go Buckeyes.